Natasha, or should I say, Black Widow. Now, I've been around for a very long time. Let's just say, eternity. And trust me when I say, I've seen it all. From the days when people were still figuring out how fire worked, to, well, your incredible stunts and espionage. Quite the resume you've built there. I mean, assassinations, covert operations, manipulation of global governments. Honestly, I'm almost impressed by your creativity. Almost. But here's the thing. You're clearly working with talent, but you've been using it for, let's say, some questionable purposes, haven't you? Look, I get it. Spies tend to come with some baggage, and you've got more than your fair share. But you've also got this undeniable streak of doing good. Let's not forget about that time you literally risked your life to save the world. That's a plus. But let's talk about the in-between. Those gray areas. Remember when you flipped that government official like a pancake just to get some intel? Yeah, that wasn't exactly love thy neighbor, was it? Now, I know you probably tell yourself, I was just following orders. But deep down, even you know some of those missions weren't exactly what I'd call angelic work. I'm not here to judge, Nat, but... Oh, wait. Actually, I am. That's kind of part of the job. Don't worry, I do it with love. So let's dig into this a bit, shall we? You've got this knack for getting out of sticky situations, using charm, brains, and let's face it, a good bit of violence. I remember that time you took down, 15 bad guys with just a chair. Impressive. But there's something you've got to understand. Using force to get what you want doesn't make you strong. It just makes you good at making enemies. What I'd love to see is how you handle conflict without turning everything into a blockbuster fight scene. Ever heard of turn the other cheek? Now I know. You're thinking, Jesus, you've obviously never been in a spy fight. Fair point. I never had to take down a Hydra agent or dodge bullets. But I have seen a lot of people try to solve their problems with violence, and you know what? They're never satisfied. All it does is build more enemies, more hurt, and more regrets. You can try to bury that guilt under layers of tactical gear, but trust me, it's there, and it's heavy. Don't get me wrong, Natasha. I'm not saying you're all bad. Far from it. I mean, come on, you took on a literal alien invasion with just a couple of pistols and, I assume, some Advil. Not many people can say that. But here's the question. If you can be so fierce in battle, why not be just as fierce when it comes to kindness? Don't you think it takes more courage to show mercy than to pull a trigger? I know you've had a rough past. Red room conditioning, trained to be a living weapon, all that jazz. But there's something I need you to remember. You were never meant to be a weapon. You're not just an instrument for someone else's agenda. That's what they wanted you to believe. But you're so much more than that. You have a soul, and that soul isn't just for completing missions. It's for connecting, loving, and bringing light to a world that desperately needs it. You see, it's easy to be bad when you think that's all you've got left. It's easy to stick to the shadows, tell yourself you're just playing your part. But Nat, there's always more. It's never too late to rewrite the script. You think just because you've racked up a body count, you're stuck? Nope, not how it works. Ever heard of a guy named Saul? Yeah, he used to be one of the biggest persecutors of my followers, but now people call him Paul. Kind of a legend in the doing good department. If a guy like him can change, so can you. You're already halfway there. Look at what you've done with the Avengers, saving the world more times than I can count. And trust me, I can count. So why not commit to being good all the way? And when I say good, I mean the kind of good that doesn't just save the world from external threats, but from internal ones too. You don't have to be perfect. No one expects that. But you can aim higher. Much higher. Think about it. Instead of being remembered as the ex-assassin who did some good stuff, why not be remembered as the woman who transformed, who turned her past into a story of redemption. I mean, come on, who doesn't love a redemption arc? The fans would eat it up. But more importantly, you'd feel it. You'd wake up every day knowing you're not just surviving, you're thriving and living with purpose. So, Natasha, what's it going to be? Keep relying on old habits, doing things the hard way, or try a different approach. I'm not saying it'll be easy, but I am saying it'll be worth it. After all, if anyone knows about sacrifice and doing the right thing, I think I've got some credibility in that department. Natasha, let's talk about responsibility. You've taken on a lot of it, haven't you? I mean, saving the world once is one thing, but doing it over and over? That's a heavy load. But here's the twist. Responsibility doesn't end with the big, flashy moments. Oh no, it's in the small stuff too. It's in every decision, every choice you make, every life you touch, whether you realize it or not. You ever stop to think about the ripple effect of your actions? Now, I know that in the spy world, sometimes you're just following orders or doing what you have to do. But at the end of the day, you're responsible for how those choices play out. There's a verse you might like. To whom much is given, much is required. And Natasha, let's be real, you've been given a lot. Skills, resources, intelligence, stuff most people can only dream of. And with that comes the responsibility to use them wisely. Every time you make a choice, good or bad, it ripples out. You've seen it firsthand. That one choice to defect from the KGB and help a SHIELD. That wasn't just a career move. It set off a chain reaction that helped save countless lives. And that's the point. You never know how one decision can shape the future. But here's the catch. The bad stuff ripples too. Remember that time you betrayed a few of your closest allies to complete a mission? I'm not pointing fingers here, but yeah, that one hurt, didn't it? The thing is, every action you take is a building block in the story of your life. And you, Natasha, you've got a story filled with twists, turns, and, well, maybe a few too many explosions. But what if you started laying down bricks for a different kind of legacy? One not built on destruction or secrets, but on restoration and truth. That's where redemption comes in. And trust me, if anyone's a candidate for redemption, it's you. Let's not sugarcoat things. Your past is, how should I put this, colorful. But here's the beauty of it. Redemption is for everyone. You don't have to be perfect. Look at me. I spent time with tax collectors, outcasts, and people everyone else had written off. I never saw their worst. I always saw their potential. You've got it too, Nat. And the best part, your past doesn't disqualify you. If anything, it makes your story more powerful. You've already started on the road to redemption, whether you realize it or not. Every time you choose to help someone, every time you protect those who can't protect themselves, you're taking another step. But now, it's time to really commit. To not just be good occasionally, but to live a life built on doing good. I mean, think about it. What if the Black Widow became a symbol of hope instead of fear? What if people looked at you and saw someone who was all about second chances, not someone they were afraid to double-cross? Redemption isn't about erasing the past. It's about transforming it. It's about saying, yeah, I made mistakes, but they don't define me. You've already sacrificed so much. Your freedom, your relationships, even your own peace of mind. But the sacrifice I'm asking for, it's different. I'm asking you to sacrifice the idea that you're only as good as your worst day. Because that's not true. You're capable of so much more than just getting by or doing enough. You don't need to carry the weight of your past around like some invisible backpack of guilt. You've got to learn to set it down. Maybe you think you don't deserve that kind of freedom, but let me tell you something. You do. Everyone does. That's what redemption is all about. No one's too far gone. Not even someone with a past as messy as yours. And you know what? The messier the past, the more inspiring the redemption. Remember when you joined the Avengers? That was a huge step in the right direction, but there's more to do. I'm not just talking about fighting alien invasions or robot armies. I'm talking about the day-to-day stuff, the choices you make when no one's watching. That's where real change happens. And don't get me started on how strong you are. I mean, sure, you can flip a guy 3 times your size, but what about emotional strength? You've been through trauma, real, gut-wrenching trauma. But here's the thing, your strength isn't just in surviving that. It's in how you rise above it. And rising above doesn't mean ignoring it or pretending it didn't happen. It means healing from it, forgiving yourself for the things you had to do to survive, and choosing to be better because of it. Redemption isn't just a one-time thing, either. It's a process, a journey. You'll slip up, you'll make mistakes, but that's okay. It's about progress, not perfection. Every time you choose the higher road, every time you act out of love instead of fear or anger, you're moving closer to the person you were always meant to be. And that's a beautiful thing.